present the full spectrum.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the season finale of RollPlay for Verona. Hi. Hello. Hi, friends. Welcome. It's been a while. Max almost died and then came back to life. Anne has moved 16 times since the last time we spoke. Mark and Bronze, I assume you're just doing okay. I assume both of you, neither of you have died. You're all feeling all right. Everyone's okay.
Lucky bastards.
Well, Max, I'll give you a little extra time to recover. But let's start with Mark. Mark, how's it going? What have you been up to, my friend? It's been a while.
I'm all right. Yeah, just been prepping for TwitchCon Europe, which we'll be at this weekend. Looking into moving into a new house, taking a leaf out of Anne's book, and preparing for a upcoming move. And then just having a good old D&D time, doing that stuff.
For folks who speak English and not. Or who don't speak English and speak American, when Mark said he's taking a leaf out of her book, he means a page. A page is the other word you could use in that situation.
Sure. Yeah.
I got to translate. As a Canadian, I'm like a half elf, man. I don't have the full immunity to charm and paralysis, but I get a bonus to my saving throw. All right. I'm just trying to help.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're doing the big D&D thing, hey?
Yeah, so we got a thing at TwitchCon, and then we're going to be doing the big D&D live event as well that got announced. God, it's just trying to keep on top of everything. And then also the Yogscast are doing their own event in August, which we're doing something at. So we got quite a lot of high roller stuff going on. It's going to be really good. Yeah, the D&D live thing I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping to see quite a few, because I don't get to see all the US peeps very often. So hopefully see a bunch of people there. TwitchCon Europe, there's a few people, like Elspeth's going to come and she's guesting on our High Rollers thing as well, which will be really cool.
Oh, fun. Yeah. Elspeth is great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. So going to be cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I know there are a few people. Zeke is going too. Zeke will be there. So that's cool. That's fun. You're looking forward to having it. So it's not like how much of a trip is Berlin from where you are?
Oh, it's not too bad. Right? Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah. It's like a couple of hours flight. Where we've got like a whole day of doing nothing beforehand as well. So we're going to rock up, and then we've got the thing on Saturday, a quick meet up, and then I'm also doing the Twitch yearly, which I think you did before in 2017. I think, Adam, where I'm doing me and Katie from High Rollers are doing a little segment for Twitch yearly, and that's it. That's the only thing we've got planned. There's a few parties, but it's going to be a pretty chill weekend, I think. So yeah, pretty good.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, make sure to keep that Twitter going, and we'll all keep an eye on you from over here on the other side of the pond, which is the euphemism for the ocean. We're talking about the ocean. It's not a real pond. Cool, man. That's cool. Bronze, what have you been up to? No, it's not. I know. They say it's a pond, but it isn't.
Oh shit.
I know.
Let's see.
I think we're scientists over here.
To California 2-3 times this year, and
I saw a picture. Twice. I saw a picture of you at Disneyland, and I was like, "What? What the hell?"
Yeah, and I'm going again at the end of this month, and then I'm going again in the beginning of May. So nice. That's fun. I might as well just move there at this point. But yeah. Other than that, like, let's see. I did the WonderCon panel with the cast of Relics and Rarities, which is super fun. And I have a really cool project planned with that team for later this month. And yeah, just been streaming, doing my normal thing. It's been good.
That's cool. What games are you streaming right now?
I've honestly been bouncing around. It's like Christmas for me because there's just so many awesome games out right now. Because I've recently fell in love with Tropico, which I feel like is just addictive as fuck. And then I've also been enjoying the hell out of Risk of Rain and the Borderlands remaster. And yeah, I've just been having a good time. I like Outward too. That game's like a weird RPG, but I'm still enjoying it. So I've been having a good time with that as well.
I feel like, Max, is that the game that Dan was talking about yesterday during the pre-show?
Yeah,
Outward.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
that's, like it seems like it's like a Fable thing, but it doesn't. It's not. There's many differences and stuff. I want to like Outward, but I haven't played with somebody who. I feel like I have to play with somebody who knows enough about it already, or just play it offline where I'm not pressured to figure out like all the stuff about it. With people watching me.
The game like punishes the ever living hell out of you if you like make certain choices. Like there's some cool stuff, but like even in terms of like spell choices you make, like because your spells, you have like what's called step spell casting. So in order to cast a fireball, first you have to cast, one spell and then another spell and then a third spell, and then the three will combo together to create the fireball. So if you don't choose the right spells as you go along, your spells are really weak and don't accomplish much. And so little things like that in the game can be definitely punishing. And you learn it like on your second playthrough.
I really like magic systems like that in games where it isn't just like pick spell from list, cast spell,
fireball, right?
Click hotkey.
It's like drop fire
kind of
sigil,
alchemy.
Make sure you have the spark spell. Like you said, it's like the combination of these three things make a fireball.
Yeah, and the game doesn't like.
Did you play that game?
Yeah,
because that game was the first time I really
is
like.
That like the top that was the one.
Yeah, it's like a 4-player kind of chaos one. It's super fun, and then you have to do the whole like, okay, I want to cast lightning bolt, so I have to cast the like bolt spell and then cast a lightning spell before that's finished casting, and you like, it made me think of that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Was so cool. You can make some like really silly stuff happen.
Yeah, like this game doesn't even give you like descriptions in terms of what the spells do. It'll be like this spell allows you to see the spirit of a deceased adventurer or otherwise corpse, and you're like, okay, but what does that mean? And then I used it and I was like, oh, it restores your mana, but it will never say that. It never is like, this spell will restore like 23 points of mana. It's like, this spell does this, and then you experiment with it and realize like, oh, it does fire damage because it doesn't tell you.
It's a bit like old school in that way. Yeah, like where it doesn't really just tell you, you just figure it out, because that's how a lot of games were back then. You're like, no, and that's why it was so important to talk to friends and like look at guides and stuff back then too, because it was like, oh, that's what that fucking shit does. God damn it. Also, the tutorial in Outward is a little weird. Could be better.
Yeah, the tutorial is definitely weird.
It's like,
I don't know. The game's like janky in places too, but it's like appealing to me because it's nostalgic.
It's not. It doesn't seem like a bad game by any means. But specific example in this tutorial, you'll like walk to a section. It's like you'll read the sign and it'll say like, walk further.
So we see Yancey standing in the window of the ship, looking down at the ravaged planet. He has a single manly tear in his eye, which slides down his perfect cheek. And then we cut to credits. The end. Thanks for coming, everybody. This has been Verona. So anyway, we were just getting sorted before the network failed on us. So Max, I know what you have been doing. I know what you've been up to. So I'm not gonna bug you about the video games you're playing and what have you. How are you feeling, Max? Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay. The landlord came over and inspected.
Oh, that's right. You had your invasive home search yesterday. How did it go?
It went fine. Larry, he's doxxed now. His name's Larry. Larry's a pretty nice guy. He's like an older guy, but he's pretty nice. It was him and his two like realtors, that he works with his house, and they were cool about stuff. It's all good. Plus, we cleaned up the house pretty good. It's one of those things too, when you clean up the house for either company or your landlord coming in to inspect stuff. You're like, why don't I ever just live like this normally? Like, why can't I just have the motivation to live like this normally?
Why don't I just clean my house?
I go to other people's houses sometimes. You know, I guess it's just a me problem. Whatever. Other people, you know.
No, I agree with you completely. There are certain home tasks. I find this to be my experience as well. Certain home tasks that you are much more impelled to perform if you know someone is coming over, because you can tolerate it, but you don't want someone else to think that you tolerate it in your life. So you tidy up.
You know what I would love to be able to figure out, and I won't be able to, but like what percentage of the overall population lives like I do in terms of like where it's not horrible, but then it gets to a point where it's like, it's pretty goddamn mess and we got to clean it up. And what percentage of the people who like pretend like they live, you know, what percentage of them are pretenders is what I'm saying. And what percentage of them are, say, I don't know, Erin, because Aurelian, her house, she is definitely one of those people that has her house look great all the time. I have no doubts about that. Because that's just how she is, I feel like. But
it's always really nice for me when someone comes to my house, I come to visit or whatever, they look at the house and I'm like, oh, it's so clean. Zeke came over before he went to Japan and he looked at my office. He was like, oh my God, it's so clean. And my internal thought was like, it's so messy. Thank you for saying that. Holy Christ. I feel better about myself now. Yeah. There you go. You can divide people into, are you a Max or are you an Aaron?
Yeah. I'm trying to get better with it, you know. And I think when we move to the next part of it has been too, it's like, well, we're fucking moving. Everything's going to be kind of disjointed and things are, you know, weird. I think when you actually know you're going to be at a place for a while, you're more inclined to like make it nicer. And, you know, I find myself like whenever I'm about to move or I know I'm not going to be someplace for a while, it's just like, this is my living space. This isn't home. You know what I mean? You were like, oh, your home that must be nice. And then in my past place, I was like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I sleep here. That's where I work.
So how long do you get to live in this temporary establishment before you move? Is it like a while still? Or?
June.
Oh, so this is okay. You're just beginning the process of like, is the landlord going to show your house while you still live in it? Do you have to do that, or you just keep it nice all the time and people come in and out of your house looking at your shit?
Doesn't sound like he's going to do that, but he might. I don't know. I don't think so though, because he was like, you know, he was asking me like, so when do you guys plan on? You know, we're like, yeah, I'll let you know. We'll keep. And he seemed pretty cool about like, you know, accommodating to when we are gonna have to leave, whether it be earlier or later or whatever. So that's nice. He's pretty cool. But, you know, I always build it up in my head with that kind of stuff. It's not a fun place to be like also the name landlord in general. I am lord over your land. Yes, I'm coming in to expect you pay the tithe.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A person whose only qualification is that they own property that you don't. Yeah, that's fair. Well, hopefully you can get out. Now, when you move, is the plan to rent or are you looking to buy a place?
Probably rent.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll just get a different lord of the land.
Yeah, we'll get a different lord of the land. And the idea is to find a place that we would, and the likelihood that we're going to find a place, the first place that we rent when we move to Austin, to be like, this is the one we're going to buy. And they're going to want to sell it to us. You know, probably not. But
so you and Amanda are moving in with Mickey Mouse, or is that how you don't? Okay,
he's good. God, he is a lord of land. Have you seen Disney World? All of this is mine.
Good. That's nice. I hope that you and Mickey are very happy together.
Yeah, it's Donald you have to worry about. I'm just kidding.
Well, I hope that the process goes smoothly, because God and AnneMunition know that moving and not having it go smooth is not a lot of fun. And your tweet the other day about, I thought I would just hire professionals to do it. Well, fuck me, I guess. That it hit home. It hit home pretty good. Is the flooding continuing or is it stopped?
Oh, well, we turned the water off to the,
so now you don't have any water? Yeah.
Well, I mean, my house has water, but I can't do any laundry until they fix it. Good. And then they have to cut the section of drywall out that has been destroyed because of the water leak and repatch it. And
good.
The upside is that now I have fiber, and all it cost me was one of my molars. So everything's great.
Right. Yeah, because you also got some face renovations as well recently. So yeah, things are going good. That's all right. You're looking out the other end. It's okay. But your internet works.
So, you know, that's great.
How did that go, by the way? The molar extraction. I asked somebody who's going to go to the dentist and definitely have to get work done, probably.
Well, hopefully, like, if you have a cavity that's really bad, hopefully they can just give you a root canal or whatever, you know, like, and that will be the end of it. My problem was that I don't know if it was like the root canal wasn't done properly or something happened, like where the crown wasn't sealed or whatever. And so the rest of the tooth that was underneath the crown got fucked up. So they were like, we can't save this tooth. We just have to take it out. You can be awake for this, which I chose to do. And it is a pretty violent process. So it was very interesting.
I'm going to tell them to knock me the fuck out if they have to do that. Fuck that. Fuck
10 minutes.
That.
Okay. All they do is they cut the tooth in half and then they just get the big pliers and they just pull it out of your jawbone. It was very fast. I was just surprised because they were just like, all right, hold on. And they were just like trying to like pull it out of my Great.
It's got that weird noise, isn't it? Like when you're sitting there and you hear that crunching as it's kind of being pulled out. Like, oh man.
It's very fast, though.
In some ways, like it seems like medical procedure has gone so far until you go to the dentist. Because I had to have a wisdom tooth taken out. Mine was already
barbarism.
Cracked. And she's like, so I'm going to take a rotator tool and we're going to pop each individual root out. And she pulls it out. I'm like, bitch, that's a fucking screwdriver. Rotator tool. Don't lie to me, you know? Now we're going to take our extraction tool. That's pliers. What do you... Pliers. A screwdriver and pliers?
That's the great thing. Yeah. Like euphemisms are amazing. And I also had dental work done recently and I was laying there and I was like, my favorite game to play during dental work is what's that smell? Because there's like smoke floating in front of your face from a thing in your mouth and you're like, oh, it smells like cloves. Wait, what? What's happening? What are you doing to me right now?
Yeah.
Yep. It's good stuff.
I don't like I got like a pit in my stomach right now.
Right?
Yeah. That's why I'm just gonna be like, fucking knock me out and do what you gotta do. And then I'll wake up
as
and
well, so here's the thing. Like for me, as a ginger person, I have a higher than usual tolerance or resistance to being anesthetized. So for me, they're like, cool, we got to give you like 4 shots before you're going to not feel this. So here we go. And the needles are the part I hate the most. So good. Dentistry for all. It's great. Science is fun. Let's all go get our teeth.
No, I don't think anybody likes needles unless you're like studying to be like a doctor or a nurse. And then they're like, do it. Yes, please. I'm studying, you know.
I mean, heroin addicts probably.
Okay.
They're probably okay with it.
If there was a better way to inject heroin into themselves, they probably wouldn't opt for the cheap needle, is what I'm trying to say.
So I think what you've done is you've just discovered your new calling. You need to invent the fucking hypo spray for heroin addicts. Go do it. Good.
I have this really great program. It helps just people who are addicted to heroin. Get off it? No. Because they use needles and it just fucks everything up. So I use this thing.
Max,
they don't feel nothing.
Max,
and then they feel everything.
I'm afraid of needles, but I've always wanted to try heroin. Can you help me? Good.
Boy, oh boy, can I.
All right, we'll start one of those huckster tents, and we'll just go town to town selling whatever made up product, whatever snake oil you've invented. It's great.
God, we have covered in that. Some topics already.
Yeah, covering some ground. Listen, it's the last opportunity to frighten and upset our audience, so we might as well start early, right?
Yep. It's my last chance to try to get Anne to make reaction faces to the dumb shit that I say.
Yes, yeah. For JP, we've moved on from all of the tooth removal talk. That's fine. We didn't want to get this video monetized anyway, so we're fine. So I was thinking before the episode, before the finale, we're gonna structure it a little bit differently than like a usual episode. How long it will take will depend on kind of how much we want to do each thing. And I wanted to basically spend the first part clearing up any loose ends, any stuff for this specific mission, like in the moment, right? So we'll start like immediately after what happened in the last episode, and we'll carry on until the conclusion of this, when you guys are like, all right, we are done with this thing. And then after that, we'll get a little wobbly with the time, and I want to give every character an opportunity, every player an opportunity to talk about like an epilogue for their character, to be like, okay, after this mission, then I go on to do this, and this is kind of where my character ends up. We might roll some dice to see how that plays out, but the idea will be that you get an opportunity to tell us kind of like, in the future, this is what Booker goes off to do. So that later in the faction turn, or whatever, we know in the fiction kind of where we could find Bicky or the Crusader, for example, and kind of what they get up to. So I'll kind of turn all of you into like miniature GMs for your own character, and then we can all kind of contribute ideas and talk about what that looks like. So let's start where we left off. The false Nomika has fulfilled her purpose as a noble deathless warrior, and has been killed by the synth, who is also now dead. The two of them are dead in this vehicle. You're in a parking garage somewhere below the surface of Imperial Prime, and you've finished off this synth, which makes two, counting the other one that you handled before. So, what happens next for the group of you? We talked a little bit in the post show last time about how this might be an opportunity to pretend that Nomi is dead for real. You've got this dead Nomi. So what do you do? What happens next?
I think we were trying to like take her back to the vehicle, right? Like in the immediate aftermath of that, we were trying to get her back to the vehicle to, like, in a hurry to make it look like we're trying to save her or something like that.
Yeah, we were looking for the box though, right? Did we look for that already? And it wasn't there.
Yep. Yes, yeah, it wasn't like a real thing, or like you couldn't find it. If it was a real device, it either destroyed itself in that flash, or or wasn't present.
Yeah, Nomi tripped out for a bit too, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we were trying to like make that we were like rushing Nomi to get like medical care by like, the fake Nomi to the vehicle so we could leave.
Okay. Yeah, I mean there's no threat in this current moment, right? Fake Nomi is definitely dead. The situation is under control now, right? Like it's settled. So you can like, we can be somewhere else. You can return the body to the Deathless if you want to. So we could start there. Bicky, you would be the one kind of in charge of that process.
Mm-hmm. Did we want to? I don't know. I don't think we really decided on whether we were gonna take the body back to the Deathless or.
Yeah, maybe that's the question to answer.
Because
Bicky you've got a dead copy of Nomika, and you can do essentially like you can decide how you want to proceed from here. So yeah, maybe that's the decision. Maybe you're all standing in the parking garage. I always have to remember not to call it a parkade because nobody knows what that is. You're standing in the parking garage. There's the vehicle. It still smells of burnt flesh, and and there's just kind of a quiet in here. So who has a thought and like who steps forward to say like this is what we should do? Because like I think everybody kind of looks at each other like, now what?
Yeah, well, if Nomi's kind of reeling from, is she showing any sort of like, is it obvious that she just had like a fucking vision sort of thing?
Yeah, I would say like I look pretty disoriented and like a little scared because I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, I think Booker picks up on that and just to kind of assess too what's happening between the two, and since her weird double just died, she's like, Nomi, are you okay? You look a little shaken up.
Yes, I'll be fine. Thank you.
It's not every day you watch yourself die.
This is true. I'm like just kind of trailing off, like seems really distant.
Yeah, Booker's just like, that's weird. Something happened. Noted.
Uh-huh.
Well,
It seems like for now, everything's okay. Nothing's blowing up. I brought all these grenades, too.
Yeah. Booker's kitted out with grenades, but nothing to blow up.
It just doesn't seem to make much sense. This woman drives down here seemingly with no escape plan, or just has some conversation with our Nomi double, and that's it. I mean, we would have heard the gunshot. We would have pulled her out of the car. This seems almost like a suicide mission. But to what end?
What did you see anything? Get inside her with the, did you see anything?
Adam, can you refresh me on what I saw when that happened?
Strange music, like discordant music box music, and a bright flash. I think is the gist of what you can process for now. Something got like put into your brain, and you can sort of feel like it's like a weird taste in your mouth, but the psychic equivalent. You definitely have the feeling that you're gonna want to like see a doctor. Like not a medical doctor, but like see a psychic examiner. Like someone in your house should get a look around in your brain, like a metapsionicist. Something feels off. You feel like a malaise.
Weird taste in your brain.
You get a weird taste in your brain. Yep.
My brain is weird.
Yeah, you get that weird brain feel.
Yeah, so I look at Max or at Booker, and I'm just like, not sure. Something has changed. I need to speak with someone. And I kind of like turn away and start like I'm going to look up something on my little wristpad thing.
Question becomes, what the hell do we do with her?
And do we wish to keep this? I mean, do we wish to continue the ruse that Cirrus Nomikar is dead, or do we reveal our double plan? If we roll back into Imperial Prime with 2 Nomikars, obviously it will raise some questions outside of the Deathless, but I'm not quite sure what to do here.
Well, it seems to me like we should have a funeral.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna pretend like she's dead and try to keep that running as long as possible, but just thinking about what you said too, it makes no sense. They must have been much more desperate, or she must have been much more desperate. It must have been much more desperate. He like corrects himself, talking about the synth. Just come down here by itself, just go for a gunfight. It's hoping to get more from probing memories in its brain. Is that what you want, Nomi? Do you want to lay low and feel like going to your own funeral?
Yes, I'm inclined to agree with Captain Tip. It seems that my presence aboard the Crux ship is no longer of a benefit, and I fear that my presence there will put the rest of your lives in danger. Perhaps it is time for me to depart. And I look down at the vacant body.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say when you're looking at your own corpse.
Yeah, this whole thing is just weird and Booker out a little bit. Like,
Uh-huh.
He's mainly gauging how weirded out Nomi is about this. Like, it's weird to him on a base level, but he's also just trying to see what the fuck's, because he can just feel something weird. But she's not necessarily, I mean, obviously she's not, you don't have to be a mind reader to see that Nomi's acting weird when she's not just cold and, you know, normal baseline Nomi.
All right, then, I guess the next course of action here would be to regroup somewhere, whether that be by the Deathless. Do you think the Deathless want to be involved in this at all? Have you let them know that she's dead? That might be a place to start. He's like talking to Captain Tip.
She's rented equipment. Whether she dies or not isn't really our problem. She knew the risks of the mission when she took it. Her life was paid for with that
equipment.
Her life was paid for with that coin. We're not really answerable to anybody for what happened.
I'm just trying to figure out what to do with this dead body right now for the immediate time. Booker's like thinking of like places that, because the death list was, that was the place, that was like our kind of HQ for the moment, right? Like we don't have like a safe house elsewhere. The other ones were compromised.
Yes, yeah, you've been staying with the death list.
Well, then do you think it's a good idea for us to go back to the death list? Just to be a place to lay low. Not exactly a lay low sort of place unless you're in it. What I mean to say is we'll be seen going into it. And what what implications might come off of that if someone is observing us?
And their hospitality also isn't free. Something to consider.
They were pretty nice before.
You've had a favor before.
Pretty good whiskey.
That's right. The mission's done. So,
I mean, I'm not allowed back without one of them favors.
Or a shit ton of money.
Well, Cirrus, if you wish to remain undetected for now, I can take you somewhere in the city instantaneously if you want to try and get somewhere. I also must concur that if this is, and perhaps it may be time to split off from the Crux ship. Technically, I no longer have a purpose aboard the ship myself. There are various avenues that I wish to look into as well. If people are going their separate ways, perhaps this is where I will also step off.
Somewhere up in orbit, Nicola is just like crying for no reason. Like
doesn't understand. Yeah.
Why is everyone leaving? Nicola really is chat. Aw. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's kind of what it comes down to. Officer Greaves, do you think we should radio the ship and inform them of the Cirrus's demise?
Yeah, now here's the question, Booker. Of everyone here, like that ship is a ship that belongs to your house. Yancey is like your cousin, right? If you turn your back on the ship, you got to have something else going for you, right?
That's why I'm posing him the question of like, you guys can't just leave without him going along with it. I mean, I kind of can because I'm bought and paid
you can. You're
captain, done. But you guys aren't.
So I think technically I can. I think the hardest one is with Nomi because she was a member of the crew still.
The leader of the crew.
Yeah, but if Nomi's dead, you're okay. But yeah, Booker, what? I mean, the camera falls on you. What do you think?
It goes slightly grayscale and it's just he's just sitting there.
Right.
Kind of sounds like a hospital game right now when you're in operation.
This would be the part in the like director's cut where the scene wasn't clear enough, so we got Max's actor to come back and do like a voiceover, be like, they posed me the one question I didn't have an answer to.
Exactly right.
So what? Yeah. So what does Booker say? What does he do?
Yeah, because he's the only one that had really. I mean, Nomi has a tie to it, but she's just pretending to be dead, I guess. He goes back to the ship. They're just going to grill him about what the fuck happened. Your commanding officer died.
Yeah.
How the fuck did that happen?
Hadn't really thought that far ahead yet. Well, for the time being, I'm gonna not worry about it and see what happens. The ship's all right. Yancey's a cunt. Plus, apparently some weirdness is going on the ship. I don't know.
Well, so this is the other thing, right? So Booker, perhaps, and I don't want to lead you too much, but this occurs to you, perhaps to serve your house, which we've learned through the work of the now rest in peace Frederick Lang, there is at least one synth like mole in-house crux leaking information to these other synths. So if you go back to them, you're getting back into a poison pool, right?
Yeah.
So perhaps to serve your house, the best you can do is temporarily turn your back on them and go rogue, right? Like, because otherwise it'll just be right back into the piranha's nest.
Yeah. Well, and like that's the thing is that when Booker said I hadn't really thought that far ahead, kind of is lying a little bit. Like he's got contingencies for whenever this and then eventually could happen. So all of that is like firing into his head right now. He's like B, maybe C, like, yeah. And then he says that he just, for now, I'm not going to contact them. As far as they know, we're still on mission. There's no need to contact them, especially if I'm going to depart.
Now remember, they're already on their way, right? Like they came, or they're here. They're in orbit. They came to pick up the other synth, right? If I'm remembering correctly. So like they're nearby. They're definitely Yancey's gonna check in. But for the moment, it sounds to me like you're gonna take the body and return to the Deathless, or where are you headed?
That's where it becomes. I guess Booker will be. Come tip, then Deathless HQ out of the. Not a question. We can't do that, right? Favors already been used. They don't want us bringing back damaged goods.
Probably not. Also, I would refrain from letting anybody outside of this vehicle know that it was the body double that died and not the Cirrus herself.
My thoughts
the
exactly.
longer the Deathless don't know, the better. This should keep this in a closed loop, especially if you intend to mislead the Crux with that information in order to buy the Cirrus's freedom.
So
someone will have to lie on her behalf. And with that, I'm gonna like look at Greaves.
Yeah. Also, there are 3 Deathless soldiers who drove you here.
Only one is witnessed. In this car with no, there's no one in this one because I drove this car.
So you only came with the one car? Because I remember there were 3 of them, so you didn't bring those guys, right?
They're in the. I don't think they ever got out of the cars because there was like.
Oh yeah, they didn't have to get out of the car. Yeah, I'm just saying you got to keep them in mind because they're here. They were assigned to you, and I believe you brought them. So yeah, it doesn't matter whether they physically saw it or not, but they're definitely witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
But they can be convinced not to talk.
I just realized that we have those other Deathless there, don't we?
How many are there?
There's 3.
3 of them?
Yeah.
Can I mind wipe them?
Maybe. It's certainly possible.
Booker's like holding the grenades.
Horrible accident. Everyone killed.
We gonna get some PvP if you try that. I can see Bronze is like,
Yeah.
No, I'm more like, that's messy. Why not just pay them hush money? You're a bunch of nobles. That's like, I mean, they're mercs. Y'all really think you can take them? You're brave.
He's doing it somewhat, he's very disingenuous.
So memory editing is just outside of your expertise, Nomi. It is a level 4 telepathic thing. Now you could always call in a favor and get someone to do that, but that's creating another witness, right? That's creating somebody who has to know what memories to wipe. Yeah.
Well, I have suppressed cognition is what I was talking about. More like
it doesn't last long enough.
Okay.
It only lasts for a scene.
Oh, I see.
Memory editing lasts forever. But you're not quite skilled enough for that.
Well, Captain Tip, this appears to be something of your realm.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think is the best way to deal with these 3 witnesses? What will they be most receptive to? I would think money.
Right. Well, and some, discretion is sort of as part of their contract as being on this mission. If you're afraid they'll betray us, I don't think that's what we should be worried about. I think we could probably pay them some hush money. Let them know that we're done with them. And send them back along their way.
Okay.
Their job
Booker's
is
like thinking
done.
like, whose money is it gonna be?
Yeah, where's this money gonna come from? Mom, I need some bribe money so that I can pretend that my friend is dead and we need to bribe these soldiers.
Nomi, do you happen to have any external funds? Considering you are the one pretending to die here.
Yeah, it depends on what it costs, I guess. I guess like Nomi starts. Can I just like start walking over to them? Are they like standing around? I guess.
No, they're all in the vehicles.
Also, this area is being watched right now. She's good.
Yeah, so
I
you
do
can
have
just like
some-
open the door or like knock on the window.
I do have some external credit sources, but again, I'd rather not dip into them. If apparently he like looks at everyone, he's like, I'm going to be going a bit rogue here. Credits are kind of needed for that sort of thing.
How many credits could we potentially get for this trillion arm, Adam? If Gabriel
you
like,
sold your arm?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a special, like, it's a fancy special trillion arm.
It's gotta be worth some money, right?
Yeah, let me look it up. Cybernetics. How much do they cost? I was gonna say if you only knew somebody in the like black market who would be interested in selling some kind of like cybernetics, but you do. You do know somebody like that.
That's what I was thinking. You could probably sell it on.
Yeah.
Not the arm gun.
What's the actual name of your arm? Like, do you know what kind of cybernetics they are?
It was like a body arsenal adapt,
right?
Something.
Yes, that's arsenal was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, body arsenal thing, and but it's a special trill one, so it's like worth way more, right?
Okay, a body arsenal array is normally worth 10,000 credits, new. So taking into account it's used, but also that it's like a fancy trillion one, I think you could probably get between 30 and 50,000 credits for it.
So yeah, like on the discussion of
ask them like how much money they want for it. We need to
Don't just sell your arm out of nowhere.
Well, the thing I'm thinking as well is like if we're gonna want to get like private ships to get off the planet, if we want to buy like new equipment and things like that. Because Gabriel doesn't want to keep the arm forever
for that.
Well,
the thing is
like Bicky kind of like chuckle because you guys going rogue. The idea of it is very cute to her because you're so naive and funny about it. She kind of chuckles and she's like, "Listen, in my line of work, sometimes the most valuable thing is the promise of a favor. You're very powerful people. If you're willing to offer your services, you might not need credits. But we also take our promises very seriously. So in the future, if one of these gentlemen calls upon you and asks you to crack open somebody's mind, put in a good word with the church, or use your police contacts to find something for them, you might have to comply. But it might be cheaper and cleaner and more effective than a handful of credits."
That makes sense. Much more valuable to know that you have a favor to call in on a potentially another assignment in the future where it might come in handy.
So, Bicky, do you want to broker that deal? Or are you the one that goes to these soldiers and is like, "Listen, boys, here's how it's going to go"?
I don't think I should. I think I'd probably serve better as a consultant because negotiation is not my strong suit. Metagaming here, but I think for y'all's sake, I probably can be a consultant. Like, should I go for that or should I not go for that? But I don't think I should do the actual talking because that's just not where my strength lies at all.
I mean, I was already gonna go talk to them anyway, so.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we can cut over to Nomi and wait. So what do you do? Do you because they're all in the vehicles, they're like sitting in the cars.
Yeah, I go to two of them and tell them to meet me in the third vehicle, so that all three of us are just in the vehicle.
All right. Yeah. So you're inside the back. The three of them are sitting. There's two in front of you and one beside you, and they've got like this kind of like uncertain. Like they're very good at hiding that they're not sure what's going on, but you can pick it up. They're kind of like nervous. They know some stuff happened, and they expected to leave. They expected the mission to be over, but so they're sitting here, and you have their attention.
So they know that the fake Nomi is dead. They saw her.
I think that it's reasonable to assume that yes, they know that you are the real.
Okay. So I look at each of them. Kind of like for a little bit longer than you would normally expect. Like I'm really trying to establish that I want them to pay attention to what I'm saying. Things here obviously did not go according to plan. The asset that was on loan to us from the Deathless has obviously been destroyed by a synthetic that we were sent here to apprehend. Now they're both dead. You may not know me, but the crux who I am working for are not to be trusted. And we've decided, and I kind of motioned to like everybody standing outside. We've decided that the best thing for us to do is to go our separate ways. Captain Tip obviously will resume her work for the Deathless. And the others, I'm sure that doesn't matter to you. My question to you is, I look at each of them again, what is your price? For you to keep up the charade, and for the Deathless not to reveal our disappearance as anything other than a tragic accident.
And they kind of like look at each other and look at you, and one of them speaks up. She's the like whatever, the lieutenant or the one in charge, and she says, it's a bit of an unorthodox request, ma'am. I mean, we're going to return to HQ and we're going to be debriefed. They're going to want to know what happened. Are you asking us to lie?
I'm asking you to tell the truth. You'll return to HQ and tell them that when we met with the synthetics, things did not go according to plan. Perhaps one or two of these vehicles were destroyed in an explosion. Officer Greaves out there has some grenades he's eager to use. And the only body you were able to recover was that of Cirrus Nomi Ka. The others were destroyed. Except for Captain Tip, of course, who will return with you.
And the captain's okay with this?
Listen, lady, I've got my own mission, and part of that includes, well, the majority of it includes the safety of my asset, the Cirrus. In the interest of what I've been told by the captain of the Jurisprudence, it is currently integral to my mission, or rather, beneficial to my mission, that the Cirrus be assumed dead, so I can do my job to the best of my ability. Now, my hope is that my mission does not interfere with yours. If it does, I would have you apprise me of that now, because that might change how I operate. And I just like kick back, but it's a little threatening.
Yeah. So she says, you're the commanding officer, Captain. What you say goes. As far as truth, she looks at the other two and she's like, well, it's a matter of perspective, isn't it? We've got a dead body that looks awful lot like Nomika. So I guess her price is that you order her to do it. That you make this like, this is an official command. You need to write the debriefing the way I tell you to. Basically, she's saying like, if this comes back, it comes back on you, not us. You don't have to bribe us. You don't have to do anything like that. Just tell us what the truth is. We're good soldiers, but you're liable for the lie, not us.
Is that Captain Tip because as their commanding officer, or me as like
yes? Oh yeah, no, you're outside their command structure, right? They look at the captain, and if the captain is saying, the captain says the sky is purple. You agree with the fucking captain, right? But then when somebody comes along and is like, that color is blue, asshole, the captain is the one that told the lie, not you. So, so if you're willing to take that responsibility, then
yeah. I'll be like, you know what to do. And I'm gonna like put out my hand like this though. Like as like a shake on it.
Okay. So Nomi, with Bicky's help, make a talk roll.
Okay.
So Bicky, you roll against a 7 and see if you help.
Talk with charisma.
Yep. Or you can make, if you want to help with lead, you can, Bicky, because that for you it's a bit different. Right, whichever is better, whether this is personal or not.
Yeah. Oh, just enough.
Okay. All right. So Nomi, you get a bonus. You get +1.
9.
Nice. Okay. All right.
But I don't know if that matters.
Oh, this is definitely a negotiation. So yeah, roll another d6 to replace that 1. Okay, I do. So it's a 10, which is actually better. 7 and 9 is one result. 10 and up is another. So okay. So it doesn't look like you don't get the impression they're gonna go back on this. They're like, all right, so this is just the version of the truth. So whatever you want us to do, we do it. Now this works. You've seen this, Bicky. You've seen this work well, because it's much better to have the ending of a mission be clean. Sometimes you just need to be like, of course he tried to shoot me first. We all saw it. Right? Then we don't have to worry about it. But you've also seen it work real bad before too, where they're like, yeah, I don't know. The lieutenant stepped on that mine and both of his legs got blown off and he died. Yep. We all agree that's definitely what happened to the lieutenant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a moment of like, shit, like this kind of thing, maybe you get the feeling that this is the kind of action that undermines the structure of the Deathless, right? That there's this like agreed upon truth that can undermine morale. But in your case, in this situation, it's working for you. Their loyalty to you and to the narrative you've agreed on overrides any kind of like selflessness or whatever they have to a greater truth. Okay, so they won't say anything. So I guess basically they say, all right, Captain, what do we need to do? Because Nomi did mention blowing up a car.
You'll dispose 2 of these cars and then take this one back to headquarters and debrief.
Yeah, so tell me about the truth. Let's create an alternate narrative together. So what really happened when you came to meet the synth? Let's pretend rewind and just discuss moment to moment here. Help me build a timeline. So what are these? And this is essentially the debriefing, right? So Bicky and the soldiers, you get debriefed by the Deathless later. What's the story that you tell them about what happened?
Well, from my perspective, we send, we send in the drone, the fake the foamy, I guess, and Booker and Gabriel into the garage, but it's like trip wired or something. And the first 2 cars in the convoy are utterly like destroyed. Seeing what's going on, I attempt to escape with my asset, the Cirrus, and one of the synthetics is waiting for us to leave the vehicle And when that happens, they shoot Nomi and I retire the synthetic. Because it needs to be a mag pistol that kills, like the ballistics have to match. So I have a mag pistol. Foamy had a mag pistol. So, because like her head was like utterly fucking destroyed. So that'll like paint the perfect picture where the synthetic killed Nomi. I killed the synthetic. And then, you know, the rest of the resistance, the rest of the other unknown synthetics scattered. We weren't able to catch a hold of them.
So
at least I think according to mine, that works out. And we can sort out whether Gabriel wants to be presumed dead or whether Greaves wants to be presumed dead.
Okay.
I think maybe Greaves probably would just not discovered. So out the wind.
So let's do a okay. So Nomi is dead, and you have the body, and the body is the fake Nomi. Okay, so Nomi, R.I.P. And then Booker goes AWOL. Booker disappears. Is that the plan?
I don't want to speak for anybody else. I think that
I'm asking about the story. So Booker goes missing during the conflict and hasn't been like we couldn't find him. We couldn't recover him. Is that the story that you're gonna tell the Deathless? Or yeah, well, MIA rather than AWOL.
Yeah, more MIA. No, Booker's not just like
maybe
right. Scene fling.
Maybe Booker and Gabriel gave pursuit to the unknown estate like the others, because we've already run off and kind of done our cowboy thing before. Maybe we gave pursuit and then never.
So Gabriel and Booker did a shit ton of drugs and ran off into the night.
Yeah, we did.
I think the idea that we just gave chase and then never reported back in probably actually kind of matches up to their character as well.
So the two of you both give chase and then haven't been heard from since. Okay.
You've been known to do that.
And then Captain Tip just returns to duty.
Yeah, I guess I would probably.
Yeah, because you're the only one that's like still around.
Captain. Yeah, I'd probably radio back to the captain of the jurisprudence and check in with her, because that's who holds my contract.
So do you make an effort to get out of get reassigned? Because if you get reassigned back to the Prudence, it's going to be like months of like weird awkwardness as they try to like figure out if you're lying or not. Like you're going right into the lion's den. Do you request being reassigned?
For the lawyers to deal with. That's for the Department of Contracts to deal with. Like, I guess part of the thing is I don't know what my contract with the captain was. I know that it was to like, he temporarily assigned me to like take care of Nomi.
Yeah, you were a security. Yeah, you're a security liaison to the captain, right? To improve security on her ship. And then she assigned you to take care of Nomi, which, according to this story, you failed to do.
Right. I get paid either way, though.
Right, but I think if the story is this is the pride moment for Bicky, right? Like, because this story ultimately paints you as this moment. It paints you as having like gotten the kill, but ultimately failed at your job, right? So, like, how much do you try to mitigate that? Because you're looking at probably like a demotion, because of like this is gonna cause trouble for the Deathless, right? Because the Deathless and House Serpents are buddies, and now an important Serpent's died, and it's a Deathless's fault. It's a captain of Deathless. It's your fault.
Right. Well, the thing is that the captain and I always had like a very, I guess, like open relationship, and there would be no reason for me to lie to her, in the sense that she was trying to shield, or at least it gave me the impression she was trying to shield Nomi from Yancey. So although I wouldn't let Yancey know that he was alive, I would actually probably disclose to the captain that I successfully completed my mission. Because as per my
you're
contract,
you're gonna add the captain. You're gonna add the captain to the list of people who know the truth.
Yes, because that's who my client is.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of where
interesting.
That's where that's like who I have to tell. So I would probably I would let the captain know that the mission was completed, let her know how I completed the mission, and then hold our contract fulfilled. But that I don't really care about what the Serpens think of me, because as far as the Deathless go, my contract is held, and the captain will report back and say the contract was completed to her satisfaction. So I won't be demoted.
So, well, yeah. So that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, let's see how you negotiate that. Let's talk about that as sort of the beginning of the following part of Bicky's story. So, so your plan, so Bicky, is you go to the Deathless with these soldiers. You give them this new version of the truth, where you're ambushed. There's a big fight. You ice the synth, but a little too late. The synth gets Nomi. Nomi is killed. Gabriel and Booker go off after the synths that are fleeing and are now missing on Imperial Prime somewhere. They're gone. No one's heard from them. And we'll catch up with them in a minute. So then, once that happens, they're like, fine, go back to the Prudence. You're still assigned to that ship. You want to go back there and then be like, yo, Captain Chiodo, here's what really happened. And then let her in on things.
Yeah.
Okay. With the intention
because she was
that
my contract holder.
Right. And then you want her to dismiss you.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I will have hopefully completed or fulfilled the contract to her satisfaction.
Okay.
That's the hope.
Right.
Ask her to give me a good Yelp review.
Right. Well, and it's tricky because she has to uphold the fake public truth, which is that you let Nomi die under her watch. Because
but she could always lie and say that what my real goal was to retire the synth, because she didn't really tell anyone that my goal was to save Nomi. She told people I was just assigned to a project.
She's more concerned that Nomi's parents are going to come to her and be like, what the fuck, you let our kid die on your under your command. And she's going to have to be like, yes, but the Deathless did it, not me. You got to get thrown under the bus by her to keep her position, because Serpents, but then she's gonna be like, I'm a crux, what are you gonna do about it? There's a lot of political motion going on here. So let's have a roll.
I'm not too worried about her.
Yeah, the question is whether it's more beneficial to her because for her the political move is just be like, I'm gonna tell everybody you fucked up because I hired you. I don't care about you personally. You did your job. You're gonna get paid. I'll tell them the contract's complete, but I'm gonna tell everybody it wasn't my fault. It was you. If she has to. But let's roll. Let's roll to see how much control you have over this narrative. So I think this is. It could
we
be
have
a lot
a
of
team
things.
of lawyers for that, though. I feel like this kind of shit happens all the time. Plausible deniability is the name of the game.
Well, sort of. The thing is that the Deathless are hired so that nobles have somebody else to blame for things, right? You're not, in this case, blaming the Deathless is the move. The lawyers will protect you. Nobody's going to come after you personally, right? They're going to hit the wall of the Deathless. But for you, internally, it's do we have to say oh, Captain Tip fucked up and is being demoted because she failed so that they can keep their face with House Crux, right? But we'll see. We'll see how well this goes for you. We're gonna roll and then we'll talk that out. So I think it could be a lot of stuff. It could be administer. It could be connect based on how lawyers, the right kind of people to deal with that. If you take the stand for yourself, there's a whole court-martial drama that could come out of this with Bicky and military court and tribunals and shit. Truth. Yeah, right. You can't handle the tip. So I don't know. What do you want to use? I think talk, connect, administer, or lead all work fine.
Honestly, on this, I would probably lean on to connect. I know a lot of people. Right? I've completed a lot of contracts with a lot of people. I could always claim that to protect my asset, I can't, disclose the details of what happened, but the mission was completed according to the deals that were brokered.
Right. The idea here is enough people who can just bury you in the great deathless bureaucracy, who can just be like, yeah, you can't sue an individual officer, you can't like try to duel them. Like, we're the deathless, we're one unit, we're this enormous faction. So like, you want people to bounce off that shell. You're gonna use your deathless like family to take care of you. Okay, so here's how it's gonna go. You're gonna roll charisma and connect. If you get a 10 or better, then you don't get demoted. The company basically protects you from any backlash. Publicly, the captain has to say, like, we're really sad about what happened to Nomi, and we dealt with the deathless for this, and sometimes this is how this goes. She'll probably publicly say something negative about you, but it won't backlash on you. The deathless will like work it out. If you get a 7 to 9, you get away with it basically, but you do get demoted. The deathless has to like hit you with like a temporary thing. You're not gonna get kicked out. There's no like that. It's just like they have to publicly say, yes, she fucked up. She's paying this price for it. But the deathless are still the deathless. We're still tough and cool, right? So the unit as itself will retain it. If you get a 6 or less, somebody makes it like their personal goal to like try to drive a wedge between the deathless and like the nobility. So some asshole uses this as their political advantage, and they're like, see, this is why we can't trust mercenaries, and they like make it a political agenda, and you kind of like, it becomes a big deal for a little while. But that's only if you get a 6 or less. So why don't you roll that?
Whoa,
and
sorry,
we'll see how it goes. Just clicking stuff.
I know. I was like, accidentally clicked my class ability because I was trying to figure out what warrior expert does. I think you just, because expert you get to reroll.
It's how many skill. It's how many skill points. It's how many skill points you get.
It doesn't have like any special ability. Like I don't think I can reroll this, right?
Yeah.
Because I forget what partial classes do. I don't think you can reroll it. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that's it.
You said charisma, right?
Yeah, it's your charisma and it's how well people like you in the deathless, right? Like how connected
God.
is Bicky.
No pressure. Oh, that's not
okay,
terrible.
All right. So it's not terrible. You don't get like dishonorably discharged or anything. But this will help you. I'm setting the stage for the next bit for you to say like, okay, so Bicky, at the end of this story, Bicky gets a demotion because she failed to save the life of Nomi Ka. And that's part of the story that we tell about Nomi's death is like Nomi would have been fine if like she had a reticulum bodyguard or something. Like we can't rely on these outsiders to take care of us, right? And you become for a while like the person people point at to be like, look at this soulless tattooed mercenary monster. We don't need their kind. Bosk. Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a huge ask, but could we say that because I told the captain the truth and because I fulfilled my contract and I didn't squeal in court, that she gives me a bonus? So that even though I take a pay hit, maybe she like gives me a wad of cash to like shut my mouth in court and not be like, well, actually, Nomi's alive.
You know what? I don't think the captain would necessarily like, it wouldn't be about paying you, but I definitely think that you and the captain form like a personal relationship as a result, right? Like as a result of this shared lie, you're like friends, right? You're comrades in this falsehood together. And so you have a personal relationship with her kind of going forward. And she put some effort in secret into shielding you from some of the political backlash that comes back on you, right? Because you know who's going to make a big deal out of this is fucking Yancey, right? And we'll talk about him later. But yeah, so that'll certainly be a thing. Okay.
I'm assuming you would also like give me some brownie points with Nomi as well, because like I took a demotion to like protect her lie. Granted, that was part of my contract. But I
was to say, I wonder about that. We'll see, because I don't know if Nomi is the kind of person who would just be like, "I'm so thankful," like tough shit.
Right.
So we'll talk a little bit more about that kind of when we do the epilogue. So you have this new false story about the priest and the officer like going MIA. The death of Nomi Ka. So let's talk about Nomi. So you have this corpse what happens? What happens next? Right? Like, is the body delivered to the church? Is there a big funeral? Like, Nomi, do you tell anybody that you know the truth, or do you let people think that you're dead?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to, like, if I reveal to my parents that I'm still alive, is that gonna be like, I don't know, like, how is that gonna reflect on Serpens and stuff like that?
Yeah, like if you go back and tell I mean, obviously your parents will be the first people that people get, like, they're going to get interviewed, and like, you know, their life is going to change, because again, this becomes like a bit of a public sticking point in the news for a while. This idea of like, do we rely too much on outside military force? Like, are the Deathless a legal corporation? Like, what are we going to do? So this becomes like think pieces in Prism News for a little while about the relationship between the nobility and the Deathless, and like, can we rely on them? Like, are they heroes that tried to protect us and like killed a synth, or are they just incompetent soldiers, and maybe we should go and, you know, take Koschei back like it belongs to the Empire? Everybody has strong opinions about this, and your parents will be people who are going to be under surveillance and being hassled by the media for a while during that. So it would be difficult to get them a message telling them, and also probably like people would be telling them like, are you sure she's dead? What's going on? And, you know, so it's up to you how much you want to include them in that. And this is the ultimate like faking your death situation. Like, who do you tell, and how much do you tell them? Do you just leave like an origami unicorn outside their front door and know that they'll figure it out? Like, you know what's the way that you tell them, and how much? Or do you just like do the sad walk away and be like, it's safer for you now that you know I'm dead?
Isn't it even worse because there's people with Nomi's abilities, so she tells them, like, they literally can't hide it. They could just read their minds and know that they're lying.
Thankfully, there's less to be worried about from the Secret Thought Police when you are one of them. Like, you belong to the House of Secret Thought Police. But still, yeah, certainly a possibility.
Well, kind of my line of thinking was from here to have the Crusader teleport me to the Executor, who is here on planet. I think the Marion Holt, and to like work with her to get off of Imperial Prime and to maintain the like Nomi is dead facade. I had like my like long-term goal, which I haven't really talked about, but I guess today is the day.
Yeah, today is the day.
And so I could have her like help me with that, and then I don't know, I guess I just don't tell my parents, or I could have.
I mean, you already know the Executor and some of the other Serpens on this planet you were talking to. They're already like there's Serpens level secrets, and then there's like internal super secret stuff, right? The stuff that Friedrich Lang was working on, and they would certainly welcome you as an operative in that part of the house. So if you wanted to be like, Nomi Ka is dead, rogue synth hunter Nomi Ka has been reborn, but don't tell your parents because it's safer for them if they find you're turning into like a gritty 90s superhero, right? Like, they can't know the truth. I have to fight crime in the shadows. But yes, yeah, you could make a connect roll too and slip away into the secret parts of your house's more shadowy organizations.
Okay.
If that's a thing that you want to do. So I guess then it's funny. There's a funeral for Nomi. Like, there certainly would be on Hroa, but none of the PCs attend. Like, because you all have to kind of like scatter, and it would be really bad form for Bicky to show up. So that's probably what we see, right? We see like, and because none of the characters are there, we don't get much, but we get a view of it happening. And yeah, and I think it's a fairly big deal, right? Because your family is pretty well regarded, and your parents, they hold a funeral for you. Yeah, obviously Nicola is there, just fucking sobbing her eyes out. I think much of the rest of the crew is there. Yancey shows up totally. And I think the captain would be there out of respect, but she does that thing where she stays separate from everybody. She pulls that like, I'm the captain, don't talk to me, I'm too important thing. But we know that inside she knows the truth. Yeah, and so there's this very somber affair on Hroa where we see, you know, the framed portrait, the painted portrait of Nomi. We see the casket. I'm not totally up to speed on House Serpent's funerary procedures, but I imagine that there's a member of House Lyra there to like read from the funerary cult doctrine. There's a priest from the High Church, and then a bunch of people, family members, friends, etc. And it's a very sad affair. Rest in peace, Nomi Ka. And then yeah, from a limo with tinted windows nearby, obviously Nomi. It's like, hey. So yeah, the universe believes, outside of this conspiracy of what, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 people, the universe believes that Nomi is dead. That Nomi Ka has been killed in action, buried a hero, a synth fighting hero who believed in the Empire, who believed in humanity, and whose soul will be exalted in the stars forever. Yeah, and I think that Nomi, you kind of become known as a significant member of the house, someone to be like remembered, a hero, because you know you died in the best possible way. Gabriel and Booker. So what do? You just like lay low for a while?
Gabriel? You want another shot?
Right, we cut to the two of you ripping across the salt plains in a big old truck. But like for now, before we go into the epilogues, this is kind of cleaning up the last little bit. Oh my god, I love this. So before we get here in chat, news from Imperial Prime: Nomi Ka of House Serpents. Last rites were performed today. Her coffin was tossed into the void. It's how she'd want to go, her superior officer commented. I like that. They just airlock your body into space. Just like she would have wanted. Just like Spock fired off to the Genesis planet. So Booker and Gabriel, the official story is that the two of you go missing. That you go after these synths somewhere in the lower parts, the subterrane of Imperial Prime. And days pass without anyone hearing from you. What do those days look like? Where are you actually at, and what are you doing?
Well, I think Gabe would definitely help, obviously, teleport Nomi and make sure she gets where she needs to go, help her keep that cover, so probably helps kind of jump her around Prime to keep that, you know, as low profile as possible. And I think it depends on what Booker and Nomi want to do. Like, I think Gabe's the type where he doesn't really know. So,
yeah, I mean, you have, I think, Gabriel, you have in the back of your head, right? Like you've been building this sort of conspiracy for a while, and now you have evidence that the Church of Humanity Repentant is like ferrying synths right here on Imperial Prime. And you have this suspicion that like the CHR's presence on Prime is only going to get more significant. You have a conspiracy to chase. You have diagrams with strings attaching them. So that's fine for now. But it's like, I guess here's another question: if you went missing, who would go looking for you?
No one. Not for Gabriel.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't have anybody. So I think that comes down to like, it really depends on if Nomi or Booker ask for his help in doing anything. Otherwise, I know what happens to him. And I'll save that for the epilogue, but I know what happens to him otherwise. But it depends on if the others say, we want your help with this thing. Or if not, then he's left to his own devices. And I think that I know what happens to him with that.
Okay. Booker, when they find out you've gone missing, how much energy do you think your family would put into finding you? Because they paid to have you brought back before, but that was like a big public thing. This, they could spin it as like, Booker was probably killed by synths. Like several weeks go by, he's missing. Let's all just say he died in the line of duty and have a big cool cop funeral for him. But
yeah, I think
how hard do you think they'd look?
I don't think it would be too particularly hard, especially if it was the context of like, well, he was in the military and, you know, he chose that life and he served and he knew what that meant, you know, like that kind of thing. I don't think they would probe too hard. They would probably just like send someone to review like the reports and maybe do a slight investigating just to confirm that there wasn't any sort of, you know, incompetent, military officer or police officer that screwed up, and also just to get a copy for themselves for their own family records and all that stuff.
Okay, so the crooks, so the crooks send like an investigator. They send someone to negotiate with the Deathless because your mom and dad are like, listen, we got to do our own due diligence. We're from a house of law enforcement. It's important that we see this, and they have to make a scene to like make sure everything happened the way it happened. So I think the strength of the conspiracy is fairly reasonable. I'm going to roll to see the results of this investigation. Okay, cool. All right. So here's what happens. It's not like it gets like blown open or anything. It's not like they're like, haha, it was a deathless conspiracy. But your parents, and I don't know, you can tell me, is it your mom or your dad? But one of them never believes that you're actually dead. Like one of them keeps paying people to search the sector for you until either you turn up again or they die of like old age. Like they search for you. They never stop hunting. Is it your mother or your father?
It was my father.
It's your dad? Yeah. And why is that? Why does is it because he can't, like, is he in denial? He can't believe that you're gone? Or is it that he knows something is wrong and like won't give up? Like, what is it that causes him to never give up hope to find you?
Well, Booker's mom's she was the one who's fully embodied the crux spirit of just being like, you know, a high noble house. We're better than everyone else. Constantly disapproving on Booker when he was younger up till, you know, he decided to join the military. Suggested that maybe the military is the best for him just so that way we don't have to deal with Booker in the family.
Right. Send him away. He'll learn some discipline.
And his dad's hands aren't clean either. You know, he still adheres to a lot of like what she is about and what Crux is about because he has to. But he was the one that always had talks with Booker throughout, you know, like, you know, 4 a.m. both awake, you know, talks. And Booker knew that his dad wasn't all bad in terms of all that. He's the one who self-reflects and talked with his son and was like, listen, I know what we're doing is shit. But I can't, you know, it's way too far for me to do any sort of like, what do you like arguments and be like, you know, Booker be like, why the hell are you doing this? You know, this is wrong. Like, what do you want me to do? Shake up the whole fucking galaxy? I can't. Like,
yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so good. So your dad was the one that was like, find your own truth. Like, don't accept what other people say. And he's got a gut feeling. He's got that, like that cop intuition where he's like, no, my son's not dead. Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, your dad, there's a chance that he like will bankrupt the family hunting for you for the rest of his life, but we'll find out what happens to Booker. And if you like reunite and you can kind of tie in like, yeah, what happens to your dad and kind of like if he dies looking for you or if he gives up, you know, because he finds that you're alive or whatever, but we'll figure that out. But for right now, you all kind of disappear into the background. So let's talk about what happens after all of that. So the dust sort of clears. The Crusader and Booker are MIA, presumed dead. Right, we're past the point where anyone goes looking for Booker, anyone publicly. Probably your mother makes a statement like, "This is a terrible tragedy. My son going missing is a wound to the whole empire. He was a brave man." And he believed in what was right. And he suffered at the hands of terrorists on Honglu and came back with an even greater fire in his heart. But all of this, and I imagine, Booker, you're watching this, like it's televised, right? And you're watching this and you can just see her like, these words are not for you. They're for her. Like she's using this to advance her political career. But you can see in the background, you can see your dad just like, see in his eyes, he knows. You can see that detective instinct, like something's not right. And so they basically, that's the last they speak of it. It's assumed that you're dead, but nobody ever really, there's no funeral for Booker because that would be accepting that he's dead. So you kind of like live in limbo. But people stop really thinking about it, and nobody goes looking for you aside from the hunter that your dad sends looking. So after your demotion, Bicky, what happens? Like, where do you get assigned next? What is the next theater of war for Bicky Tip? Because we know from the faction turn that things in the following months heat up. The Cold War between the Sector Trade Organization and the Empire, it becomes a hot one. There's like armed conflict on Orpheus and on Diomikado. What happens to you?
Well, this kind of works out really coolly in my head. So the way this works out, and I just kind of drummed this all up with the way the rolls went. Yep. I feel like Captain Tip's name becomes synonymous with like this whole political movement of can we trust the deathless? You know, the Serpents died, blah, 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 blah. Several months have passed, and she receives correspondence from someone who's looking for the truth. And that person is the former Amira Kirin Kaur, who has now joined House Vagrant. And she says she doesn't know the truth, but she does know that she owes Nomi a favor, and that if possible, she would like to offer her services. And she like gives Captain Tip that information without confirming or denying like what happens. And so I would say that Captain Tip probably forwards that information to Nomi, that you have a ship with like a vagrant captain at your service should you need it, but that like, you know,
nice.
That the Tip did not confirm or deny whether or not Nomi was alive, but that the Amira has her own like idea of what happened because she knows how stifling being part of the Crux was and how death is kind of often the only escape. So she's kind of like Booker's dad in the sense that like when she sees everything play out, you know, like in the newspapers, she has her own interpretation of what happened.
Right, because in the following months, war erupts between the two alliances, and like war crimes are committed. Some very bad stuff starts to happen. House Vela is stripped of their nobility. Many of them go like Rogue in that same way, and fight either against the Empire or against their former allies. All kinds of shakeups begin to occur, and it's a trying time in the following months in the Empire. So what does Bicky do herself? Like you stay with the Deathless and like take on more missions and keep doing your thing?
I don't know, because the thing with the Amira is like, well, the former Amira is that I always had in my head that she would go on to become a bloodhound. And I want to feel like her, and after meeting Kieran, like maybe her and Kieran continue to work together. But the thing with Bicky is that
I love that you're just shipping your characters together. And do they get together and talk about how cool? Do they get together and talk about how cool Riley was?
No. Well, the thing is, like, I don't know. I guess I'll just like open the bag on this because you know it's the finale. But the reason Bicky is so money motivated is she was actually originally a part of House Reticulum, and that's why she has the Rakshas tattoos, and she is actually shielding someone who was supposed to carry out an assassination and failed, someone that she loves very, very much.
So this isn't the first time that you've had to like cover for a noble before. So this is all kind of old hat in a way for you, and revealing some like very like tense stuff. Okay, cool.
So ultimately, her loyalties lie there. And so she'll always go where the money is. And I have no idea of anticipating what that is without knowing what y'all do in the metagame. But she'll always be a soldier of fortune because that's where her loyalty lies, is in shielding this person that she loves more than life itself. So I don't know if the Amira makes her a good deal. Maybe she would sign on with the ship for a while. and I'm sure she would continue working with the captain as well, but she'll always go where the good contracts are.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so regardless of where you work, I imagine that she would stay with the Deathless, because even though you have this kind of like this bad rep, internally, we talked about that, how you got the 7 and 9. Internally, everyone's like, you're demoted, but everyone kind of respects you more. Or they're like, you took one for the team. Like people probably still refer to you as captain internally, because they're like, yeah, your demotion was horseshit. Like, we all know.
Yeah, you did that so that paid leave.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like it. So the Deathless have your back, but outside they have to pretend like, oh, what an embarrassment. So maybe you don't get any Imperial contracts for a while, right? Maybe you get put elsewhere, which is what exposes you to Vagrant and kind of some of the other like extra Imperial stuff that's going on in the universe. So like, yeah, maybe we're just gonna move you out of the core for a while, and you can go like hang out on Tootham, or like go down to the Expanse and like work down there for a while. Yeah, I dig it. Okay, cool. So you get assigned to some kind of like dangerous thing that keeps you busy and keeps you getting paid, but keeps you out of the limelight until these things kind of pass over. Okay. Yeah. Rad. I like it. Cool.
I like it too.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, let's talk about Gabriel then, because Mark, you said you have some thoughts. Yeah. So we kind of know that like you're a bit of an outlier, right? Like the only and chat pointed this out, the only person I think that actually really cares about where the Crusader is Nicola.
Yeah,
but before you left, you told her like, this ship needs a counselor. They need somebody to talk to. You should be that person. So I think that her way of like doing right by you isn't, I got to go find him. It's I have to do what he needed me to do. So I imagine that's what happens with her. But we'll talk about the ship in a bit. So what do? You're on Imperial Prime. You've ostensibly gotten Nomi to safety. Booker, we'll find out what he has. He has his personal crusade to clean up this dirty town. What does the Crusader do?
So I think that in the state where the Crusader is, with everything that happened on Berkman and all of the events in Imperial Prime, nearly dying a few times, and the revelation of the church, and perhaps there's synths within Crux. The biggest thing that happens to Gabriel is he just the faith begins eroding away. That slow process of losing faith in the church, in the empire, everything begins just slowly crumbling. And if he's left on his own, if he's not given a righteous task to dedicate himself to by somebody else, because Gabriel has never been a leader. He's always been a follower his whole life.
Yeah.
He's always done what other people told him to do. He went on the missions that the church told him to go on. He killed who he was told to kill, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And so if left without this, if left without anybody to guide him or lead him, then what happens is I think that the paranoia and the erosion of his faith just destroy him. And he sells the Trillion arm because he's paranoid that they're tracking him and they're listening to him. And he uses that money to fund like a personal crusade that leads to his ruin. Like he begins hunting down the church repentant, but he basically probably gets branded as just a criminal. Like he probably just gets, becomes almost like a terrorist.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's kind of the thing where like the church at some point, instead of like with Booker, where mom was like, we loved our son, and I hope someday we find him again, but we're not really going to look for him because he's better as a martyr for us, and I look better with a dead son. But with you, like you have some enemies in the church and no real allies there, and you kind of go rogue. Yeah, and they're like, the Crusader Gabriel is no longer a part of the church. Like he is a rogue actor, and we denounce him or whatever. Yeah, and chat grabbed this too. What's Forrest Whitaker's character from Rogue One?
Guerrera.
Sal Guerrera.
Sal Guerrera. Yeah, you pretty much become that guy, right? This like one person crusade against your own perceived conspiracy.
Yeah, it's his own perceived, because he doesn't join the UPC. He still, he thinks that he basically just goes crazy and just breaks down, I think. But, again, it depends, right? Like, unless Booker or Nomi are like, hey, I want you to come and do this thing or help me with this thing, this is what happens to him. Otherwise, I think it's more defined by what the others do. Because, again, he's that follower, not a leader personality.
I like, personally,
but I think he
this
just breaks down.
Yeah, I would say personally, and this is just me, I like the idea of having the kind of like disintegration ending for the Crusader.
Yeah.
That idea
it's
of
not
like
glorious. Yeah, and I think that it's not glorious. He doesn't do anything heroic. Like, he becomes so overwhelmed by this paranoia that, it's Crux, it's Trillian, it's the church, it's the synths. It's like he just goes after everybody and he burns this money and he, just becomes a criminal. And maybe he just gets, executed. He gets arrested, or he gets thrown away, or he just or he kills himself. I don't know. I think.
Hey, come on. You need some help? You need some help, bud?
Welcome back.
Well, I feel like it stands to reason that Booker would check in on him.
Okay,
here and there.
So here's the question though. Like, at what point? Because this happens when you're friends with someone who is disintegrating. At what point does Gabriel decide that Booker is part of the problem? Like, you're in the fucking conspiracy. Like, does that conversation happen? Or
I don't think so. I think Gabriel would never. I think the only people he would trust is Booker and Nomi. I don't even think he trusts Tip. I don't think that he knew Tip well enough to fully trust her.
Wise. I mean, that's just wise. Yeah. No, you can't trust.
But I think Booker and Nomi were there.
He's a deathless.
I heard some bad things about them on the news.
So jealous, Max. You should just join the deathless too.
Okay, so we'll check back in on Gabriel then. So Booker. What happens with you? Because I think at some point we'll need to make a roll to see if because you're balancing your own thing, and like, so what is Booker's plan after he goes MIA?
Booker's plan would be to continue to track that the synth threat in his own way, and more just moving on, not through official channels and things like that, using and leveraging connections that he can where he can without being too big of a ping on the radar. He'd change his identity to some name that I haven't made up of,
sure,
or multiple identities that he switches between.
Yeah, like I figure we've established before that Booker is a man who has connections in places where other members of House Crux don't. Where you were able to connect to the underworld, and criminals and pirates and Maltech scientists and stuff, and so you can do your own thing, and I think that's the way. But so your goal is, like, Booker wants to continue his crusade to like rid the universe of the synth menace, just not as part of the house.
That would be his initial goal, is to tie up the loose ends of, like, see where that thread goes for this synth threat that's happening, because Booker does find them a big threat, and then eventually as that resolves itself or becomes something that comes to an end for him.
Well, let's find out. Let's make a roll. Let's see if Booker can, over the course of the next weeks and months, if Booker can personally weed out the leak, the synth, because there's a synth feeding information to other synths in House Crux somewhere, and that if that's your main goal, then let's have you roll a notice roll, with wisdom. And this is you doing the thing. Now, don't roll it yet. We'll talk about the results. So on a 10+, you have control over how that goes. You find the leak. I will describe it to you, and then you can tell me how you deal with it. On a 7 to 9, I'll give you like a hard choice regarding it. You can maybe get what you want, but there's a big price to pay. And on a miss, they evade you. You cannot find them, and then you can decide whether you give up or where you go from there.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead and roll that notice roll with wisdom.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
All right. So Booker, let's talk about the Crux leak. It takes you a long time to weed this person out because the synth goes into hiding, like deep into hiding after what happens with the two that you killed. But eventually you find a woman working in one of the Crux like intelligence offices here on Prime. You manage to get. It's so much harder because you don't have access to like the Crux databases, but you like spend a bunch of money and do a bunch of favors and like dig around in information. You get access to a Cygnus like synth database, and you can confirm the identity. There's a woman named Dorothy Maeda, and her original designation is JN3PG-PK4. She's a mechanical synth. So she's like a mechanic, basically, someone that was designed to like work in a machine shop. But she has a minor functionary's job. She is like the secretary to a member of Crux Intelligence on this planet, and she's just been like slipping information out of his office and like feeding it to her synth friends. So you find out who she is. You like track her for a couple of days. And she does a pretty good job pretending to be a person, right? She goes to work. She has friends at work. She's like got a boyfriend. They like go out for drinks. You know, you watch them long enough, you figure out he's like planning to take her on a vacation. And like, so you've been stalking this woman and like watching her like pretend to be a human for a while. What do you do? Is there a scene where you like, you know, trap her in an alley and retire her, or like what happens with Booker when you do this? You've been following her for a while, living in your like grungy apartment, smoking, like you're strung out, but you did it. You have the drop on this synth. What are you gonna do?
I don't think it would just be straight up retirement because he wants to understand like what is going on. Like he's retired synths because they're synths. That's what he does. That's what his job is to do. But Booker's genuinely curious what the fuck is going on and why they're doing this so much, to what end. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think maybe there's a scene like that where, maybe it's at the bar that she regularly goes to with her boyfriend. It's like after work or whatever, and she like, the boyfriend. He knows that he's got like a good amount of time before the boyfriend joins, and so he just comes up.
Right. And that's what's so creepy is you like, you know, that you're like, yeah, she's going to get here. And then in about 45 minutes, her boyfriend is going to show up. So I've got this window. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's at the bar and she's just arrived. She's coming out of the rain and she like, you know, hangs her coat up.
Before we go further too, Booker knows, like you said, it's taken a long time. He knows her exact routine and everything. And has contingencies for if she goes out, you know, and tries to get away from.
Oh yeah, you got an 11. You're completely in control of this scene, so you can add in whatever.
Why can't roleplay be like this always?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of like giving most of the GM stuff to you guys, rolling dice occasionally. But so she nods to the bartender, who gives her a little wave, like, "Hey, how's it going?" She sits down. He gives her a glass of whiskey, and she's just sitting at the bar drinking it.
Booker comes up and,
"What are you having?" "I'm not going to order you another one. I'm curious."
Yeah, and she looks up and, well, how does Booker look right now? Like what do we see when she looks up at you?
Booker actually looks super fucking clean cut. Like he looks complete opposite of what he used to look like, gruff. Like he's gone the exact 100% opposite. You'd think he works at like Prism or some shit like that. He's looking dapper as fuck, cleaned up as fuck.
Super slick Booker. Okay. All right. Make a what's your charisma?
It's awesome. No, it's actually pretty good.
So
14.
You do have your +1. Okay. All right. I'm gonna make a mental effect save for her at a penalty of 1.
Wow.
I rolled a 1. -1 is a 0. That's like the worst she possibly could do. You're so handsome and like interesting. She was about to say, you can hear her. She's turning around, starting to say like, oh, my boyfriend is going to be here. And just look at this handsome man. It's like Baywatch up in here. So she just looks up at you like, and blinks a couple of times. She's like, excuse me?
What whiskey are you drinking there?
You know, I don't really know much about whiskey. I ordered it once and I thought it was okay, and now that's what he gives me when I come in.
I'll have one of those,
he says to the bartender. Grabs that and starts sipping.
Mm-hmm.
You come here a lot.
And she nods and she says, "Well, you know, it's close to work. I'm sorry. I'm Dorothy." And she puts a hand out.
Pete.
That's his name that he's using right now.
Yeah, sure. So you shake her hand, and it feels like a human hand, but you know this hand was made in a factory somewhere. And she shakes her hand. She's like, "Nice to meet you, Pete. I haven't seen you around here before."
Yeah, I try to stay out of sight.
Wow, that's a mysterious thing to say. What do you do, Pete?
Used to track people.
Oh, like a bounty hunter?
Kind of.
Well, that's exciting. I'm a secretary.
I got bored with it, though. It was just the routine of going through the same steps over and over, red tape. You get to feel like you're programmed, you know? Like you don't actually exist.
I don't know. Every day's pretty different for me. She's like kind of nervously drinks her
How do you decide what you do? The details.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we all have a boss, right? Somebody to tell us what to do. Well, I don't know. Maybe you don't.
I know
can't
right
imagine
now
what...
you have a program going on, trying to work out different contingencies, figuring out if I'm actually a threat. Right now, you're analyzing different ways to break my neck or kill me, if need be. I want to let you know you're not in any immediate threat.
Yeah, and you've followed her enough that like everything that she does, you expect, right? And it's all on time. So like you watch her pupils dilate slightly and then fixate. You watch her start to breathe like slightly more quickly, but it takes like a half a second too long, so you can tell it's put on. She, without looking, because she's got too much discipline for that, you can see her reaching for her purse, in which you know there is a gun. But she's reaching real slow, and all of this, like you are in control of this situation. You know it's happening.
As she's reaching, you're like, come on, I wouldn't do that. If you know I've found you here, you know I know everything about you. Everything there is to know. Well, at least on the surface, right? You asked me what my job was. It used to be to track people like you.
What are you going to do now?
I haven't decided. I am curious, though, on why.
Why what?
Well, because you're the last line, or last piece of this puzzle. The others...
And then he like says, you know, like the names of those, you know, designations or whatever. Or their
C3EU0T2FE. And yeah, right. So you list off a couple, and you can see her again. She blinks and says, "You killed June and Titus, didn't you?"
June killed herself. Titus attacked a friend of mine and tried to murder another friend of mine. It was retaliation and self-preservation. I'm sure you know a lot about that.
Listen, we just want to live like anybody else.
So then what was the purpose going after, he mentions the past and like the different missions and things.
Yeah. She
How did that link up into the whole chain? The bigger picture for you?
She says, I didn't want to kill anybody. I don't really think that June did either, but Titus insisted on it. He said we weren't safe. They got in a fight. June killed that serpent because he was too close. There was no other way. And then Titus wanted to finish the job. That's why he tried to kill you and your friend. I don't think June wanted him to. And then after he died, she changed. I think she wanted revenge. So human of her. Don't you think?
Yeah. I've learned a lot. Unfortunately, retiring a lot of you. And I was brought up to think just like everyone else. That sins are evil. They're not people. And you're not. You're not people. That doesn't make you evil, inherently. If you choose to do evil deeds, then yes, that makes you evil. It was a man. Well, I thought he was a man. I was on assignment with my team. And I saw his entire life fall away. And you could see the panic in his eyes. Now, why does a robot panic? Why is that in there? His wife was screaming in this giant megaplex. And she had no idea what was going on. She ended up getting killed too. Always regretted that one. Where'd you come up with Dorothy?
I saw an old vid once, right after the three of us escaped. But a girl and her dog. She was friends with a lion and a scarecrow. And a tin man.
That's a classic. That's a good one.
I just thought it seems so normal, so human, you know?
That's funny, too, because you don't meet a lot of Dorothys nowadays. Dorothy, I'm not going to kill you. So you can ease up a bit. I just needed to know what lie at the end of the tunnel. Surely that makes sense to you.
So what happens now?
Well, your life does come at a price. But one I think you'll enjoy. You work with the Crooks. They trust you. They don't know that you are funneling information about them. I want you to find every gross thing that they do and start to compile it for me. I want you to take every gross, horrible, atrocious act that they do, and you tag that away in a file for me. You see, I'm a part of them, but I was never a part of them. And so you know what, Dorothy? I think we'll walk down this yellow brick road together, won't we?
So good. Of course she agrees. She has no other choice. And yeah, you now have you've turned this mole, this synth mole inside House Crux to your advantage, and you begin to accumulate a dossier of every terrible thing that she is able to sneak out of there. Every crime against humanity that the nobility, because again, House Crux are the ones that are all themselves doing that for other people. So they search out and they learn about criminals within. You get to see every time someone gets like bribed out of being prosecuted. Every little secret that passes over the desk of the Crux office on Imperial Prime makes its way to Booker Greaves, hidden in secret. I like it. That's great. You're like a fucking boogeyman now. You get all this info. Nice. Excellent. Okay. So with that in mind,
shadow broker.
I was just gonna say, I'm kind of like the shadow broker.
You're like
so yeah. What happens? What do you do? What do you do with that information? I mean, I imagine you give up on being Booker Greaves, but become something else, right? Pete Greaves.
Pete Greaves.
Pete Greaves. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's kind of
Peter.
That's kind of evolving. Like it's always been in Booker's mind to find a weak point and the right striking point. He knew it would come eventually to expose all the corruption and horrible shit that the Crux do, so that way they can stop pretending that they completely run everything just fine and everything's okay. So I think for now, for a while it's just Booker compiling stuff, showing it to certain things, here and there, brokering different information here and there that won't completely destabilize things, but will kind of wind up a bigger master plan of where he wants to go with it. So that's what he spends a lot of his time doing. He kind of operates like a shadow agent, shadow broker, but one that's actually out there doing shit.
So I hope that you're okay with me using Booker in the background of like future stuff as this mysterious like the yellow brick road and like that whole like metaphor as a thing. Oh my god, that's so good. Okay, cool.
When she brought up when you said it was from Dorothy, I'm like, fucking perfect. Use it.
Yep. Well, she just didn't want to be the Tin Man, so she had to be Dorothy, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. That's right. Booker is the wizard. I like it. Cool. Okay. So last, I guess that does mean that Gabriel, you're busy with your own thing, Booker. So Gabriel does get his like burnout ending, which I love. And yeah, so left to your own releases, Gabriel.
There's a possibility. I'm just saying there's a possibility. There's a possibility that Booker might whisper, in his dealings and stuff, a little something towards Gabriel.
Maybe bust him out of whatever hole he's dug himself into.
Yeah.
He'll become the full Rorschach. So we were chatting in chat that Gabriel basically becomes crazy Rorschach and eventually gets brought out of jail or whatever, back into the fold. I like that.
Yeah. Remember what happened to Rorschach though? Just
Oh yeah. That's how Gabe would
didn't go good for him. Well, let's talk about what happens to Nomi. So Nomi, you're dead. You're dead. You've died, and now you have the ultimate freedom of the dead to do as you please in the universe. What is that? What happens with Nomi? You talked a little bit about connecting with the kind of like substratum of your house. What do you think?
Yeah. So I think that I would get in touch with the executor who's on the planet and then kind of explain to her what happened, since I do trust her. And I know that she had a contact with the guy who died, Friedrich Lang, and so she knows how.
Yeah.
So she knows how to get in touch with that kind of portion of the house, which is.
God. Yeah. Okay. So you can get in touch with them pretty easily. What are you going to them for a favor? Like, hey, get me out of here, or are you going to them to be like, I still have things to do. Like, let me carry on where Lang left off.
Yeah. She has her own kind of private mission. So she would want to make use of their resources now that dead.
Yeah, now that she's dead. Okay. So what? Yeah. So I guess that adds the executor to the list of conspirators. So what do you do? Like they're certainly willing to help you. What do you do with those resources? What happens to Nomi next?
Nomi is searching for someone important to her who disappeared, and no one told her what actually happened. But it's kind of like how with Booker and his dad, only Nomi is the dad, and it's not really like a kid, but it's where she's like searching for someone who everyone is just like, oh, like, you know, they're dead or they're gone or whatever, and she's like, no, I want to find them.
Yeah, I mean, like this is the time to bring out those things. So if you're into it, like, who is that person? Who is it that Nomi goes looking for?
I made a reference, like one of the very first episodes, that she had a photo at like what appeared to be some kind of graduation with her family, her parents and her, and then there was a portion of it that was folded back. So on that folded out portion, there's her brother, Nobuo. And he disappeared about 3 years ago, and no one has explained to her where he went. But right around the time, just before the emperor was assassinated, he just disappeared. Shit. And so she's been searching for the whole time, and that's why she was working with the Crux, because she thought she could like use the resources to like travel and find him.
I mean, I think it's reasonable for this path to lead Nomi to the revelation that I think we're all kind of assuming. And if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. But I mean, I think your brother is still alive and is in the hands of the church for committing a terrible crime. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's something that Nomi could absolutely like find out. And I think that leads you, like you find out that the Serpent's assassin is Serpent's Ka Nobuo, and he is in the hands of the High Church for committing among the worst crimes anyone can commit, but under extenuating circumstances. Armed with that information, what does Nomi do?
She is like, her ultimate goal is to be reunited with him and to like break him out, basically.
Yes,
so
awesome.
She finds out that he is in fact alive as she believed, then she would do everything in her power to try and get him out of there.
Sweet. So that is your quest. Cool. Okay. So that becomes kind of what Nomi focuses on. Now I think that for Nomi, the other thing that goes on during this period, does she seek help for the weird like brain thing that happened to her? Like, do you take time to do that, or do you focus so much on your mission that you kind of ignore it?
That would be a thing that she would probably bring up to Marion Holt before she left Imperial Prime. And then so if she was like, oh, you should talk to like this person, then Nomi would probably do that, because I assume that they would have some kind of like medical procedure for examining her without revealing her being alive, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think that the members of your house can definitely like check you out and get some information about like what's going on. And I think that the information you get about this is that there is something wrong with your like metadimensional signature. They show you the kind of like the physical version of it. It's like a series of overlapping colored spheres. And they show you, they're like, this is what your last record, the last house record of the way that your psychosphere operates. And it shows you, and there's like fairly regular patterns. They move around, and they're like, and now this is what the scan reveals. And it's like one of the things is rotating backwards, and there's all kinds of like weird aberrations in your psychic like signature. And the doctor says, we would love to keep you here for examination. Like something, your MES is reacting to something in a very unusual way, and we want to keep you here. And this is before you go. Like, I got to go find my brother. So do you keep in touch with someone? Do you get regular checkups, or is that the only time anyone like looks at it?
Yeah, I think depending on how like what the symptoms were, Nomi would mostly just keep going without like if it wasn't interrupting her too much or like hard for her to work, she would just kind of ignore it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you got to take your MES medication, but the only thing is you keep having a recurring dream, and I think this is probably the closing shot, right? We see Nomi kind of mid mission, getting ready for bed, and she lies down, turns off the light, and we crossfade. Everything fades to black, and we can hear the sound of water, right? The ocean. Not loud and crashing, but the gentle kind of white noise of the ocean washing up against the shore. And as we fade from reality to dream, we see this beautiful white sand beach, and beyond it, an azure sky, green sea. And as we turn to look, we can see birds wheeling in the sky like seagulls. We see ruins, and not massive cyclopean ruins, but like a wooden boardwalk, long fallen into disrepair, right? The sand reclaiming it. We can see behind it buildings with the decayed and wind-blown surface of the facade of like games, like carnival games. So we see like a shooting gallery. We see like a whack-a-mole machine. We see all of these like once colorful wooden facades, all like long fallen into disrepair. And as we continue to pan across, we see a sign at the entrance, and most of the sign has fallen off or been dissolved, but a single word remains. And on the sign it says Verona. And then we fade to black.
Yay, I'm gonna clap.
So there we go. That's it. That's these characters. You all go out into the world, and part of why I wanted to do the epilogue is because these characters are still out in there doing stuff, and it matters to me. So I may in the future check in with y'all about things regarding kind of like what, especially Booker, because
Booker's gonna affect. This is really just to talk about how Martin Sheen became the elusive man.
The elusive man.
It's gonna be Booker. He talks. I mean, you think about it, he even kind of talks like him a little bit.
Kind of talks like him.
I see. What do you want from me now?
Shepard, you said you'd get this done. Love it.
Excellent. Yeah. No, now you have to become the guy from the voice guy from XCOM, because you already talk like him too. Commander. Cool. So yeah, weirdly shaped episode. I knew that it wasn't going to be like a full episode. So I wanted to just give us enough time to make sure everybody got their epilogue in, and we got to see kind of what the ending was. I know a lot of folks were asking about kind of like what's going to come next. JP and I will have some announcements about that in the next little while. I know for me, I have a bunch of different options for kind of what we're going to do with Fire Verona and with the universe next. Obviously, the faction turn will just continue as normal because I need you to keep making me a universe. And I'm thinking about using a different system or whatever. I've got a bunch of different ideas, and we'll talk about that more as we get closer to being able to make announcements. But yeah, thank you so much for coming to this, the season finale of Fire Verona. And I've said it before, and I will say it again. I'm immeasurably thankful to my players for joining me for this first almost 30 episodes and helping me craft this narrative together. So thank you, friends.
Crazy, we almost got to 30 episodes. That's not. I'm happy about that, because it would have. Like I said before, when we first announced like that, this was going to be coming to a close for our season or whatever of it. I would have felt a lot worse about it if it was like 5 episodes or something like that, where we like barely got into any sort of narrative or anything, you know?
Yeah. We got to do some good exploring, and I'm very thankful for that. It's been a delight playing with you guys. So let's do one last shout it out for Verona, and then we'll be done with the episode. Why don't we begin up here? We'll just go around the corner. So Nomi, why don't you start us off?
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know I saw some people from Serpens in the chat. Hope you guys enjoyed my rendition of what I imagined someone from House Serpens would be like. And yeah, I've had a great time on this show, and I've really enjoyed playing with all these people. And as always, Adam, it has been an absolute pleasure having you decide the universe for us. You can check me out everywhere on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff as just AnneMunition, which is over here. And I will be streaming later, even though I had a tooth taken out on Monday. I missed and I'm not in too much pain, so it'll be okay. Okay.
Excellent. Thanks for toughing it out for us, Big Snake. Down below, it's Papa Bear, GassyMexican. Go next, Max.
Papa Bear, GassyMexican. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. It's been an absolute joy to play Booker Greaves. I'm actually gonna miss playing Booker. I just wish I had more time to dedicate to 2 roleplay shows throughout the day without you know having it cut into streaming and all that stuff. That's really the main reason why I can't continue to do this stuff. But you know what? I think we left Booker in a really good place. I'm so happy with everybody, the way the cast kind of have rounded out our epilogues, as it were, and I hope you guys are happy with it too. It seems like you guys really enjoyed this last episode with these characters. But thank you so much for watching and enjoying and being excited about all the stuff that we do. I will treasure these moments. Yeah, if you guys are interested in me at all, I am GassyMexican on pretty much everything. Variety broadcaster that plays all sorts of stuff, silly voices and all that stuff. Mainly, I hope you guys had fun. And yeah, thanks for watching all this time. Hope you guys had a great time watching the show.
Cool. Thanks, Max. Over on this side, playing Bicky Tip. It's That Bronze Girl. Do it.
Hi. Hello. I'm That Bronze Girl. You can find me. First off, before I start that, actually, I had a great time on Far Verona. I was gonna do that at the end, and I was like, that'll be weird. And I'm really happy that you, the audience, enjoyed it as well. I have to say, this is like one of the most expansive universes ever, and it was so much fun to kind of like discover that and like go through that. And you know, whoever's at the helm next, I hope that they kind of like learn from our foray in the sense of like the options, because we did so many different kinds of missions. Like looking back on it, we did everything from like espionage to like stopping a rebellion to instilling a police state, sort of. Like we did some pretty crazy stuff, and I feel like we got to discover a lot of the lore in the universe, and I hope that the audience helped us do that too, or enjoyed us watching us do that. Words are hard. I'm still going to be around, so that'll be a thing. I stream super early in the morning. I'm a variety caster. I'll still be doing like RPG related stuff. Relics and Rarities is still being rolled out on YouTube and Twitch. That's my project with Geek and Sundry. And thank you so much for hanging out and spamming Bicky Tip in chat every single time my name shows up on the credits. Makes me super happy. Thank you guys so much. You've been a wonderful crowd.
Excellent. And last but not least, with the big dissolve, the big sad end.
Yeah,
I love it. I love a sad ending. Thank you for giving me my Chinatown ending, Mark. Playing Crusader Gabriel. Mark, take it away.
Given the way that Jason went, it wouldn't make any sense. Hey, thank you guys so much. 10 blessings to you all from the High Church of the Messiah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Seriously, being part of Verona has been amazing. I've learned so much from not only the cast, but from Adam as a GM, as a fellow GM as well. And watching, you know, Anne and Max and Bronze play has taught me a lot about being a player. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being part of the community as well. If you want to check me out, you can check out my stuff, which is a D&D show called High Rollers D&D. It's every Sunday, UK time, about 5 o'clock. Which is over on the Yogscast Twitch. You can watch it on there. That's probably the best place to watch it. I also do my own stuff. And yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for inviting me to being part of it. And a big thank you to my cast and our amazing GM, Adam, as well.
Thank you. Well, that's it. That's it for us. I'm the Space Master. I'm Adam Koebel. You can find me right here every week doing Court of Swords, and you can find me otherwise on Twitter at skinnyghost or twitch.tv/Adam Koebel. I will be back for more Court of Swords, I think in a little while. And as always, thank you for coming, everybody. Thanks for participating. I'm going to go and make one last Q&A thread for this season over at community.itmeJP.com. And if you find yourself missing the Acheron row, if you find yourself wanting to participate in this great universe of ours, go check out patreon.com/rollplay. That's where all of the faction stuff happens and where most of the work building the universe goes. I cannot take credit for that. It's mostly the factions. So if you want to jump on board, join a faction, go do that. So that's it. That's it for us. We are done. Thanks for coming, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye.